Operation Legacy is officially back, and we're bringing it back to the old school Halo. Griffball, classic maps, SMG starts. Only thing we're missing is the Red Rings of Death, and we can really call it a party. But with the new Halo update, we also revived an age-old debate that I thought died a long time ago. So that means we gotta talk about it. So when it comes to the Halo Operation Legacy update, it is a revival of the Halo 3 mantra or theme that a lot of fans have been wanting for a long time. A lot of people call Halo Infinite the spiritual successor of Halo 3, mainly because it has a lot of mirroring to the gameplay mechanics, to the revival of equipments, and just the overall vibes of what Halo 3 really was about. And so when we finally have that kind of return to the Halo 3 classic vibes, we got a lot of Halo 3 themed things. Return of the Halo Arena Delta playlist, with some notable classic returns of maps like Ghost Town, Foundry, High Ground, Cold Storage, a new Guardian variant, Construct, Isolation, Ivory Tower, and even a better version of the Pit that's not hated by a lot of people. No more neon lights. Classic settings with the removal of sprint and clamber, and now getting people hyped because we can actually play Griffball and not be furious. And probably something that I was super surprised about because I've been asking for it for literal months now, and that is the return of the Hayabusa helmet. I just gotta say, I'm about to lose my mind. I've been clamoring for this thing for several videos to this point, and it finally feels that Halo Studios actually listened. To the point where I almost thought that they were trying to just throw some shade at me because they were actually looking at Ninja Gaiden 4 and were like, oh, this is a cool helmet. It would be kind of cool to see if this thing will rise back. And they actually listened and brought it back. And the coolest part about it is that it's actually in the exchange. Now, granted, I will say it's 40,000 Spartan credits, which is kind of wild. For people like me who have been playing the game since day one, this was a pretty easy purchase. Because the crazy thing about it is that you can only earn 20,000 credits by not only completing the battle pass, but earning the weekly challenge for the entire month, which means you really need to make sure that you save your points in order to buy this armor. Now, overall, as a Halo fan, I thought this is a pretty solid update, and a lot of fans have been really excited to just jump back into the classic Halo experience. But as I mentioned in the intro, all of a sudden, this update brought back a debate that I thought had died a long time ago, and that was the debate on sprint in Halo. Whether or not sprint is ruining the franchise, and all of a sudden amongst Halo fans, content creators, and just people who are avid players of the game, feel as if we need to have this ultra debate on whether or not this should even be a function in the game anymore. Yet some fans coming forward saying that sprint is ruining Halo and that a game should solely be based on classic settings, while other fans are saying that sprint is needed at this point and that it's great to have this type of playlist, and that maybe if you have this game mode embedded, then you shouldn't really have a lot of those classic Halo fans complaining anymore. And all of a sudden it went to a full-scale civil war against each other. I felt like it was Iron Man versus Captain America, and you had all these people just squaring off, battling each other in the middle of the street. Now, as someone who's played every single Halo game, and has experienced the super sweaty Halo 5 experience, all the way back to the classic games, I feel as if I have pretty good knowledge on this entire debate on what is good and what is bad about it. When it comes to sprint, I gotta say that most modern games have a sense of sprint or quicker movements in their title. Whether it's games like Apex, games that everyone would be so excited to have back in Titanfall 3, and every single COD game, there is a sprint mechanic that is built in. And I feel as if in the modern audience, that if sprint was not put into an FPS game, a lot of people really would not be into it. Because of the fact that most other FPS games have this mechanic, it feels as if Halo doesn't do that, then they're just going to be left behind. And I think a lot of people forget that back in the day, the classic Halo games, when you play big team battle and these maps are massive and there really isn't any vehicles because all of them are destroyed, all of a sudden you're doing this speed walking mechanic that a lot of people would be furious about because you have to travel from point A to point B, and let's just say you finally get there and you get killed. That's like the worst feeling because now you're just put all the way back to the base. You gotta go through the process again. But if you have sprint, at least you are kind of circumventing that really slow drag of experience and getting right back into the combat. And I feel as if you actually can still get a Halo experience with the inclusion of sprint, because I feel like, in my opinion, Halo Infinite is probably the best feeling Halo game to date that is a mix between classic vibes and the modern era. It's not the Halo 5 super sweat mode where I feel like I have to really bring a dish towel to make sure that I clean my forehead every time I play a game because of how crazy it gets, with the mixtures of all these button combinations of doing Spartan charges, ground pound, sprints, clambers, everything. But it's a good balance between a quicker version of Halo that has sprint and feeling like it's an updated version of Halo 3 or Halo Reach. Because remember, Halo Reach, which was made by Bungie, who is the quote-unquote greatest game developer ever for most of the classic Halo fans, they did embed sprint, and a lot of people were upset with them when they used that as an ability. But even they realized that when they were developing Destiny, that you kind of have to have something of that sort in order to create some sort of a new age version of the Halo meta. Now, the question then is, could Halo survive without sprint? Of course it can. You can have a Halo game that is not having any of the new mechanics and still have the same function of what it was in the previous generations. You also can follow Doom Eternal and how they methodize the way the game functions. You can have thrusters that boost yourself into a certain direction without having sprint, and you can have the game movement itself be a lot quicker than what the standard Halo classic game feel was. You can really drift into that arena shooter and just make it where all the functions are similar to that of things like Valorant, where Valorant doesn't have sprint, but it works well in the gameplay mechanics. And I also think that people who are developing the maps have to actually be good at their job. If you create these giant maps with no sprint whatsoever, it does bring a drag to the entire experience. But if you make maps a certain way with different kind of launch pads, kind of teleporters, or things that bring you to different parts of the map without you having to rely on sprint, then yeah, it can be a lot more fun that way. And I'm not sure if Halo Studios is actually talented enough to pull that type of map design off. And it feels as if they are used to this sprint mechanic, and feels like that they wanted to bring that to the Halo series to this point. So it feels like they kind of want to have this, and that's why they build their maps a certain way. Now, to kind of tie in the Halo update itself, I think it's a pretty fun one. Yes, there are some good things when it comes to the fact that you're bringing in the Hayabusa helmet only in the exchange that encourages people to play the game, new things to play in Griffball, a lot of new game modes and maps that bring you that classic Halo vibe, which I'm all for. Now, the only downside I feel about this update is that I wish they had more things for the squad battle. Halo 3 had probably a collection of awesome BTB maps back in the day, and I feel as if they kind of just dropped the ball on that. Squad battle with some new maps that were from Halo 3 or some other games would be phenomenal right now. Or if you could even drift even closer and say, hey, you know what, Halo 3 update, let's bring in the carbine, let's bring in some weapons from Halo 3 to get people excited, like the brute shot. You can create variant weapons, like things that you've already done, to try to give people at least something. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, they're forged weapons, then like, is that really worth it? I think anything is better than nothing at this point. At the end of the day, people have made some crazy weapon variants that work really well in the game, so you might as well kind of add them to the standard playlist to give people saying, hey, look, here's a brute shot version of the Cinder Shot, or a carbine version of the DMR, something. Just giving people something to play, something to do, and I just feel as if they will get people to come back and play. Now, granted, I will say at the end of the day, the store still stinks. Some of the prices on here are outrageous, but they are better than before. You still have to pay $28 for a bundle when things really should not be even close to that price. So it's giving you that feeling of, yeah, sure, I can buy all these different Halo 3 armors together, or I can just not buy anything at all and just make the devs get really angry about it. I mean, the best option is that if you do pay into the Hayabusa helmet, it does give the devs the knowledge that, hey, maybe if you put more of these armors in the exchange, then you might get more people to buy them. I feel like, yes, even though Marvel Rivals has been kind of dropping off recently, I like the free-to-play method actually kind of worked for the most part. Because if you play the game, you can actually earn dollars or cents to use for the shop. And I feel like in the long run, that gets people to actually participate in these battle passes because they want to be able to pay for things that they like. So if you actually embed things in the exchange, and even if you want to give people the option to pay money directly, DLC, then at least you're doing the best of both worlds. You can tell people, hey, you could grind for this armor, or you can pay for it if you really just want to circumvent the whole thing. But the fact that Halo Studios has not done that yet, it tells me that they're most likely never going to do it. So I would recommend this update for people who like Halo Infinite or want to try something different, want to go back into the classic feeling things from the previous games in the last generation, because you're definitely going to like this update. But at the same time, it was kind of funny that I had to go back in the time and jump into the debate of Sprint like I was playing this game back in 2017. In a future video, I probably will talk more about what I would like to see in new mechanics and what they could do in Halo going forward, but that's for next time. What do you think about the new Halo update? Do you like what you saw? Do you think it's not enough? Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this type of content, drop a thumbs up and subscribe to support the channel. You can also support the channel by joining our memberships for some awesome perks and rewards. If you're interested in Halo multiplayer, I did an entire video of what I would want to see in the next Halo's multiplayer concepts. Check out the video in the end screen. Until next time, this is Mars Band signing off. Game on.